Hello, my name is David Ferris. I'm the Field Support Engineer for Covenant Living of Colorado, and you're watching January 2022's Covenant Living Tech Talk. And this topic is recent security hacks, patches, and how they affect you. So let's look at recent news for Log4j. So what is Log4j and how does the hack work? In layman's terms, Log4j is part of an application or program that will log any errors an application may have during normal use. It does this by writing information into a file called a log that the creators and programmers can reference to see why something fails. The security teams found that it can be used to deploy malicious activity if a log is written a certain way. So how does that affect you? Programs that you use may be affected. Companies are scrambling to fix the vulnerability before hackers find more ways to use it. Programs and software that are not up to date that use Log4j are the most vulnerable. What can you do to protect yourself? Well, for one, keep programs up to date. This means if there is a notice to update now, don't close it and put it off. Restarting devices at least weekly can also help keep security up to date as it forces the operating system, Windows, macOS, Android, iOS, to check for new versions. You also, if you are not using programs on your computer that are just sitting there, you may want to uninstall those because those may be vulnerable. For example, if you're not using a word processor, maybe Word or OpenOffice or Libre, and it's just sitting there and you're not updating it, you might as well uninstall that program. If you're unsure, reach out to someone if you trust. Reach out to someone you trust if you need advice when you are unsure. So what can you do to protect yourself? Do not click on links, documents, or websites you're unsure about. Don't trust calls, pop-ups, emails, or texts telling you that you are vulnerable and need to contact someone. Never let anyone that you cannot 100% confirm who they are access your computer remotely. In my live tech talks, I always talk about emails that say that you won an iPad, emails that say you've inherited money from a prince or a king and you are actually the prince of Zimbabwe. None of that is true. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. You don't want to get scammed. And never let someone access your computer remotely that you don't 100% know. So for example, people get malicious pop-ups that come up and say, hey, please call us, your computer's infected, and then they end up getting on your computer and causing more havoc and then charge you money. Be sure to be smart about this. Don't let people access your computer remotely you don't know.
We know that there's over about 3 million customers this year alone that have had impact based on fraudulent scams. That's a really big number for Microsoft to try to address in this industry, so that's why we take it so seriously. Fraudulent tech scams usually come out in the flavor of where there's a fake agent or a fake technician representing themselves as Microsoft to the end customer. And what they're basically doing is saying, I'm from Microsoft, and I've noticed that you have a problem on your computer. You have malware, you have an incorrect file on your computer. Let me help you with that. And they're trying to gain access to your computer to be able to take information from it, or they're trying to charge you fees to be able to actually do something to your computer that doesn't need to be done. So my division actually works with all of the end customers that are calling Microsoft asking for customer service or support related to these fraudulent activities that happen in the market. And what my team does with that information is we partner very closely with another unit at Microsoft called the Digital Crimes Unit. And that team really does the deep investigations of this fraudulent activity, and they might even go as far to take legal action. So we work in a full circle between technical support and service for customers, all the way through to investigation and actually taking action so that we can address the entire environment related to fraudulent activity and scams in the market and try to eliminate it.
We fight cyber criminals who target some of the most vulnerable, and we're working really hard right now to halt the tech support scammers in their tracks. We're catching some of those that make mistakes, but in fact, they're getting savvier and savvier as they go. They've learned what makes a customer trust them. We got a call from a woman in California. She's 67 years old, she lives by herself. The first thing she said is she knows how to stay away from fraudsters. But her antivirus program had just run out on her computer. So when she got a phone call from someone claiming to be a Microsoft partner, she thought maybe this is legit. They showed her some red error messages on her computer when they had remote access, and she unfortunately paid for their non-existent fraudulent services. She reported it to us after the fact, saying, "I know I made a mistake, and I'm hoping they don't get to take someone else." We've identified over 50 enterprises in the US alone, so our digital crimes unit is investigating and referring cases to state attorney generals and the Federal Trade Commission, and we're considering legal action ourselves. But we know that they're operating globally, so our teams in UK and India are partnering with us to get after these criminal enterprises. So it's a global approach to a global fraud scam that requires the Digital Crimes Unit and law enforcement to partner.
We really want to ensure that every customer knows that they're supported by Microsoft and that they should take the same steps. Stop, don't do anything more, and know that Microsoft would never reach out to you directly, nor would any of our partners. We're not calling. After you've stopped, just go to Microsoft.com/answerdesk and we'll help you and work you through it.
So let's look at other scams that are targeting seniors. There's the healthcare scams, medical alert robo calls, senior benefits / IRS scams, charity scams, and even funeral scams. Let's look at the healthcare scams. You receive a phone call stating there's an issue with benefits, Medicare, or medical card, or receives this call stating there's a discount on medical benefits. It relies on people being naive and result in requesting personal information such as a social security number, banking, credit card details, address, etc. How to best avoid these cold calls that you are not expecting from unconfirmed people should never be provided with any personal information. Do not even include your name. So if you're getting a random call out of the blue and they're asking for your social security number, your full name, your address, your credit card details, etc., hang up the phone. Don't give that information. That should be the first red flag that you're getting a random phone call, and B, that they're asking for all this personal information. Let's look at medical alert robocalls. Offers a personal medical alert device, sometimes with a free item. How to best avoid? Don't trust the cold calls. When in doubt, hang up. There's a lot of phone providers now that'll show that it's a spam call, or it's an unknown call, or a call from something you're not familiar with. You've never heard of this company. That should be a red flag that this is either a sales call, a scam call, or something malicious. Senior benefits and IRS scams. They call stating they are owed money for various reasons. Will threaten legal actions if payment are not provided. How to best avoid it? No, these organizations will never call. They use the mail to bill for any issues, and that includes Social Security offices and IRS. One thing that scammers and hackers tend to do is try to pry on seniors and give a sense of urgency or fear that if XYZ isn't done, that you'll be arrested, you'll lose a lot of money, your computer data will be all wiped. These are all, scare tactics to make it so that you do what they want you to do, such as send them money, buy gift cards from Walgreens. I mean, all these should be red flags. For example, if a plumber comes over and fixes something in your apartment, do they ask you for Walgreens gift cards for payment? No one does that. That should be an instant red flag. Charity scams. Will contacting you asking for donations for various false organizations. Solicitations can come in many forms, such as email, phone, and even regular mail. These tend to happen more frequently after major newsworthy events, such as upcoming elections and natural disasters, such as the fire that just happened. How to best avoid them? Do not write checks, make payments to any organizations you have not confirmed are valid through a reliable source. Again, I would even go to the websites directly. If you don't know, what kind of charity this is, I would just hang up the phone, or even just throw out the mail, email, delete email, etc. I wouldn't trust anything that you wouldn't trust or you don't know. Funeral scams. Targets family members of the recently deceased, claiming to be debtors or even the funeral home itself. will usually state they are unpaid debts that need to be paid immediately. Again, prying on that fear tactic or relying on that fear tactic. Preys on the emotional distress of the situation in hopes that hasty decisions will be made. How to best avoid? Keep track of all your bills. Utilize trusted family members to assist in navigating any financial matters during these trying times. Let's look at overall avoidance tips. It's okay to not trust phone calls. Never consider yourself a rude person for hanging up on anyone you cannot confirm. Always verify. Request things in writing, and if they do not already have your address, do not provide it. When a company or person contacts you on behalf of a company or organization, use resources outside the way they contact you. For example, if a bank emails you, don't click the link in the email. Go to the actual website itself or call the number on the back of your card. For example, if I have a Wells Fargo account or Bank of America, and they're asking me to contact them, I will not use the number that was emailed to me in case it was a scam. I will use the direct number that I know if I get directly from that company's website, or even my credit card that I know has a number on the back of it. If you're needing additional assistance, you can always contact me, your local field support engineer, for assistance. My number is 303-951-8366. I'll be glad to schedule a time with you and go over any issues that you're currently having. My email is my first initial, middle initial, last name, so that's dpferris@covliving.org. And then if you need information on my hourly rates, please feel free to ask when you do give me a call. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.